Good evening and welcome along to the Friday night show, the Celtic Unrestricted View. It is indeed a footballer's insight from Barry Bannan. Joining me tonight, my good man, Mr. Ryan Clifford, and my good man himself. I've not seen him since Celtic humped Leipzig. Can't believe I'm even saying that, by the way, to open this. But we were sitting chatting before you came on, mate, and obviously the last time, and you says, I'll probably be back on here greeting into my pillar or doing something before you look away. And exactly we're doing the opposite, mate. So since then, how have you been? And it's good to see you, boys. Welcome back, mate.
Aye, it's brilliant to be on again. Like you said, the last time I was on was after the Leipzig game, I think. So they've been brilliant, obviously, when they're playing the way they're playing at the minute. Every Celtic fan, like the three of us, are happy and always looking forward to the next game. And that comes at a tough place in Tynecastle coming up tomorrow.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to the game. The only thing is, after international breaks, you don't know what you're going to get with people being away. And I seen Brendan speaking today about players coming back today for the first time. So I'm looking forward to it, but I think it's going to be a tough game. I think their position in the league's probably false, but no, I'm happy to be back tonight and speaking about it. And like you said, they're in a terrific place, Celtic, at the minute. And as us as fans, it's a pleasure to watch at the minute.
And Ryan, as always, mate, it's good to get Baz on again, mate.
It's always like I say, mate. People are probably sick of hearing it, but when you have guys like Baz on, mate, you get a different insight through different things. Like, we didn't think Agüero would play, he didn't play, but the reason behind it, you sit and take note of it. So it's wee small things like that we maybe don't see, mate, from a fan's point of view. So it's always better to hear it for somebody that's involved in the game and somebody who's played it and still doing it. So I own what Baz says here, JP. Hearts will be a difficult game, I think. They did probably were the best team against him across the water. Just unlucky they didn't have a bit of clinical edge to kind of finish the game off. So it will be a good atmosphere as well under the lights at Tynecastle, tight park, good stadium, good atmosphere. So I think Baz is spot on there, JP, as well. As much as we've had momentum now, you don't know what's going to be because the momentum stopped because there has wee mini break. So let's just hope that the players can kind of start quickly and be kind of get I think an early goal is probably key. I know it doesn't really matter to when you get the goal because you get the goal, but I think if you get an early goal, it kind of settles in because I think that happened when the Scottish Cup game. I think we played. I think Arne Engels scored within a minute or 2 minutes.
That's right,
and basically the game was done because that set the tone for the game and it quietened the Hearts crowd down and that was the game basically finished. But I think tomorrow, I think maybe because it's late on as well, that adds a wee bit to the atmosphere and stuff. So I, like Baz says, I'm looking forward to the game and hopefully it's a winning one as well.
Yeah, and of course, you guys, the viewers, I hope everybody's well and wrapped up well in this cold Glasgow weather that we're having at the moment. Start off with a few comments. Plunge in first up. Wow, he's been on early. He's setting an alarm for us tonight, by the way. Said, evening, boys. Hail. Second up was Jerry Burns. He said, evening, JP, Ryan and Barry and fellow Celts. And Jem coming in third tonight. It's all right, I had you on each way anyway, so we're quids in. Don't worry about that, Ange. Evening, JP, Ryan and Barry and the chat. James Kennedy and also. Evening, JP, Ryan and Barry. And Christoph back in with us. He said, hail, boys and girls. And the Unrestricted View podcast. Hail to you, mate. Hope you're well. Baz, just as Ryan touched on there, mate, were you surprised yourself in the last Champions League fixture that Ida didn't play? Because you totally threw my head that night when you said you thought he would have.
I was a wee bit, but I was surprised with how Celtic attacked the game as well. So I got it completely wrong that night because I thought like we would have had to suffer at times. And I know there was a 10-minute spell after their goal that we did suffer, but I think for the rest of the game, they surprised me with how. I get it, you're at Celtic Park and you want to be on the front foot and that, but you're playing against a top team. So I thought there was going to be spells where they would dominate the ball and we would have to sit in. So that's where I thought my thinking of Adam Ida playing was coming in. But Brendan obviously thought different and thought, we're going to go for them, we can match them, we're better than them. And if you were going to play the way Celtic played that night, then you can see why Kyogo did start. But I got it completely wrong, because I thought that there was going to be times where we were not a low block, but having to sit in and soak it up, and that's how I thought Ida would have played. But it was complete opposite in the night, where Celtic went for the jugular, pressed high, kept the ball very well, dominated possession for most of the game. And so I wasn't surprised when I seen the performance why Kyogo started, but I didn't think that was the performance that Celtic were going to give us. I didn't think they were going to be as dominant as they were, which surprised me. But like I said, they've probably had a learning curve from Dortmund. I know we've been on here before and said that he said after the Atlanta game there was no... They've definitely changed the way they've been playing in the Champions League game by game. So they're showing that they're adaptable, because in Atlanta it was a backs to the wall, dig in, get a point and get out of there performance. It wasn't really like Dortmund. It was complete opposite of Dortmund. And then you get yourself back at home against Leipzig, and you change again, and you go all out attacking, you press high, you keep the ball, you dominate the game. So they've shown that they are learning. And I know we said this last season on the podcast that we're not learning, it's the same things, but that goes out the window now, because they've definitely learned this season and adapted really, really well.
Baz, do you think a big part of that was a learning curve also in Bergamo when they went to Atalanta, and really it was like a win for us that night? I know we only drew with them, but that was like a win. We'd William Glavin on the podcast for the kind of tactical breakdown, and he highlighted what they were really good at, and we all walked away for that episode, Brian, if you don't mind me saying so. We were all shitting ourselves because we thought, here we go again. Brian predicted us to get beat 5-0.
I
know that. I mean, but everybody... Listen, I was trying to be positive. I've always backed us, and craziness might be a part of it. I don't know, but as Ryan was laughing and joking with me, I'm going to be right eventually. And I kept saying, I just keep taking us to win, because I'm going to be right eventually. Albeit we did beat Leipzig at home, but I'm talking about one of the away fixtures. But do you think Celtic? I personally feel, in the way they set up and play, I think they've grew for that result only, and I think that could be a massive change in their season. Baz, what's your thoughts on that?
No, it was definitely a massive result for their confidence. Once you get beat as heavy as we did in Dortmund, you need to stem the ties somewhere along the line. That can't keep happening. It can't happen twice in a group. It just can't, because it's no get away. Celtic are a massive club. So you can't be getting into it. I know, like, they've got bigger pulling power, i.e. transfer fees and stuff. But it doesn't really matter, because we're still one of the biggest clubs in football. So to be getting beat as bad as we did in Dortmund, that can't keep happening. So I think that Atlanta game was massive learning curve for them. And it showed that the biggest thing for me was probably, I felt Celtic were stuck in their Scottish frame of mind, where we need to go and dominate games, and their ego got the better of them in Europe. But I think going to Atlanta, getting a draw, no really looking like winning the game, just staying in it, and the fans cheering the way they did at the end, they thought, oh, maybe we can play like this then, and the fans are... So I think if the fans went the other way and weren't happy and were saying it was a disgrace, like never looked like scoring all night, then that might have changed the way they went forward for there. But I think the fans' reaction and the reaction of the country when they get back to saying, oh, it was an amazing result, that probably played a big part in, like, we don't always have to go, and sometimes you need to drop your ego. There's better teams than us out there, but we can match them if we just go about it a certain way. And I think that's what they done that night. There's like, you can't just go attacking these teams, because we've seen it over the seasons that when you try to do that, Ange done it as well, and got success for 30-40 minutes in games where you look all right, but eventually the gaps open, and the longer the game goes on, the players get tired and the gaps become bigger, and they're too good, so they are going to hurt you. But in Scotland, you'll get away with it, because there's not enough quality to hurt you if you get tired. But against these big teams, there's going to be times where you need 10 people behind the ball and just roll the sleeves up and fight for a point, because that point now is massive, because we've went back to up with another 3 at home, and the next home games probably look like 3 points as well. We're going to that favourites. I know it's going to be another tough game, but you're probably getting into it thinking we should get 3 points here. So that point in Bergamo is massive.
Ryan, obviously, as Baz touched on there, that it's a massive point for Celtic in the Champions League and hopeful in qualification. What's your thoughts on that, mate? Do you think that that's a Brucey bonus point for us and one that probably wasn't expected to have happened?
Probably, mate, aye, because I did really believe it through what I knew for Atlanta, the way they were playing, the guy up front, Regani, I think his name is, Vitigre, he's flying in Serie A. And I'm thinking, I know Liam Scales and Vickers, if he was going to be fit and trusty, they've done decent, but he's flying, man. This guy, he's playing at the top level in the Serie A, scoring goals against some of the best defenders in the world. Yeah. And they're finished today, guys, that we've got, but some of the guys are not as good as the guys he's playing against in the league every week. So then you guys like Lookman on form. If they turned up, I'm thinking, right, this is going to be a really hard tap, because I fully thought that it wasn't going to change. And I thought if it went with the full 3-3 in the same play, it was a disaster right away. But the fact that, like Baz says here, they have adapted, you can see they can adapt, but you can also see that when they had to go forward, they could go and attack. It was just missing that wee, maybe tiny bit of quality in the final third, and you could have won that game. So, but again, we did have some moments where Casper had to come into, obviously, that's what he's paid for. That's why he's paid the big money. And that's why he's the number one. But that is his job to save good shots, and he done that. So it's all part and parcel of a team. But I think it's a massive, massive draw. To me, it was a win, because I didn't think we'd get anything out of there. So points total, it's a draw. But I think as a fan base, considering we've went to Atlanta, but Dortmund, PSG, Real Madrid, and been absolutely annihilated, to get that to happen and come away for a good result, then you're going to Leipzig. So I think everything's all about confidence and momentum. Baz will tell you, even if Baz was playing like teams like Burnley, who have spent a lot more money than they go and get a result, you're thinking, that's brilliant, by the way. I know Sheffield Wednesday are a massive club, but they're not spending money like some of these teams are getting parachute payments. So that's a good point or a good victory in that as well. So it's like us taking a point. Atlanta they're spending thousands and millions on players. We're maybe spending 30, 40 grand, but they're spending 110, 120 on. So it's a massive, massive jump in terms of that. So I think it's massive in terms of the going forward. And I think this thing about us not competing anymore, about if it's budgets or like Baz says, it's gone now. You're betting beat an elite team in Leipzig at this present time, and an elite team that's won the Europa League in Atlanta. So this thing about Scottish clubs can't compete, I think that's not going to be an excuse anymore. Yeah,
Baz, I've never bought into that narrative about Celtic not being able to compete. I just think that seems to be a mindset that a section of our fan base seems to have adopted over the last couple of years.
I totally agree, because like I said, we think we're, as supporters, as a club, one of the biggest in Europe, if not the world. So I know, like, probably financially maybe a bit behind, but you see other teams, like we've spoken about it on here, we've seen other teams get results smaller than Celtic, get out the group stages and get into the later stages. So I don't buy it either. I think, like I said, that our ego was getting in the way of some of your performances in Europe, because you dominate games week in, week out. You're expecting to do that when you go into the Champions League, and it is a good mindset, but there needs to be a bit of reality as well. And I think that's the mix that we're getting right at the minute. We Atlanta, we had to just suck it up and say we hit them in the break a few times. But I think the biggest thing for that Atlanta game as well is we've got a point for it, but they'll go and analyse that and think, how can we take the pressure off for a bit more longer in games like this? How can we dominate the ball, and how can we hurt the other teams whilst having to defend for as long as we did that night. So the next time they play a big team like that, they'll be better for it away from home as well, because they'll learn. They're learning at the minute, so they'll keep learning, and that'll be a big learning curve, Atlanta, as well. As good as the result was, they won't be happy with how they performed. Brendan will look at that and think could have done a lot of things better, and we need to do a lot of things better if we want to keep progressing. So no, I don't agree with we can't compete in Europe. The last two games have proved that. You played against two of the biggest. They're probably up there with, I think, was it Pot A and Pot B, or I think they both that. So we clearly can. We blew Leipzig at the water, who probably, I know Liverpool beat them the game before that, but first half Leipzig could have been 1 or 2 up that night. So, and you're talking about Liverpool, who are probably getting spoke about this season as going to win both Champions League and the league. They've got a chance of winning both, and Leipzig had the better of them for 45 minutes that night. So, and we went and blew them away the way we did. So, no, we can definitely compete. It's just about, like you said, mindset and how you go about the game.
Yeah, and obviously moving into tomorrow's game, mate, I know it's a 8:45 kick-off, should I say, at Tynecastle. It is on Sky Sports Football. You said at the start it would be a tough game for us. Do you think these Champions League performances, Baz, and the kind of mindset that Brendan's installed in the team now, obviously is going to help them, because they'll be going anywhere in Scotland now, not fearing one single soul. So us as fans have got the right to maybe say, you know, that's a tough place to go. I know Hearts have not been in the greatest of form and everything else, but certainly it's not a game you can take lightly going into tomorrow.
No, they'll be made aware that you've got people who have played at Tynecastle, your captain, played there loads of times, James Forrest, Greg Taylor, Carter Vickers. They'll all let the new ones know that this is not like a normal Scottish game where you turn up and it's hostile, the fans are on tappy, it's a tough place to go.
Yeah.
They'll know from the players, like I said, McGregor and people like that will let them know. But it won't dent their cause. They won't be scared, like you said. They're scared of nobody, this group of players at the minute. And rightly so, with their performances. It doesn't matter if it's been Aberdeen at Hampden or Leipzig at Parkhead. They're getting into games playing the way they want to play and steamrolling teams at the minute. So we've touched on it before in here. If they turn up, they win the game comfortably. Doesn't matter what Hearts can throw at them. There might be a spell in the game where Hearts probably look all right and putting a bit of pressure on us. But if Celtic turn up for the 90 minutes, it's a Celtic win. But it is a tough game. It's one of the toughest along with Aberdeen and places like that. They obviously don't like Celtic as well, which adds to it. So every team in Scotland probably watching Celtic in Europe and thinking we want to beat them. So they're up there to be shot at, and everybody wants to beat them. So they can't come off the boil at all. And like I said, you could probably get away with a few probably not playing well and still winning the game because they've got that much quality. But I think Brendan will have them all at it. I think he'll pick a team that probably been back and trained most of the week. You might get maybe Maeda because he could come back today. He could come back tonight and still play tomorrow and be all right.
Aye. The rumours are he's ran back for Japan as well to be here for the game tomorrow.
It wouldn't surprise me. He's beat a tatty, Kyogo back and he get a flight back.
They jumped on a plane, he just ran it across all the highways and everything to get here for Japan.
So I think he's obviously chopped and changed at the right times, and I think this might be a time where we'll probably do it at the end of the show. We'll try and predict the team, but I think this could be a hard team to predict tomorrow. I think it always is after an international break because you don't know who's fatigued and you don't know who's fresh. Or Brendan's had 10 days with boys who haven't went away on international duty. Maybe somebody's caught the eye there and he thinks I'm going to give him a game. So I think it'll be hard to protect the team. I think there might be a few changes, as crazy as it sounds, because obviously the team's been picking itself recently with the performances. But after the international break, like I said, it's a difficult one, and that's the wee thing that kind of scares me. We might make a few changes and we might be no fully at it for the off. But I said, I think over the 90 minutes, Celtic will have more than enough to be comfortable.
Right, and obviously going into tomorrow, mate, we've set the bar so high, haven't we, with that performance level against Leipzig, the game before it against Aberdeen, and then with a tough tie down at Rugby Park where everybody kind of, you know, seen it being a potential banana skin, mate. But then you see the quality of guys like Nicholas Kuhn coming to the fore when you really need them in a match where people are going, that's a hard pitch to keep control of the ball. Not only do they keep control of the ball, but apparently David Watson's still chasing him to the byline now, trying to get near him for that goal. But going into tomorrow, mate, how do you see Celtic approaching that tomorrow? Obviously, as Brendan says, the last of his group that was away came back today, and he kind of alluded to that there was no injuries or no major concerns, so you could have it, like Baz says as well. I thought that was a great point as well. You know, Carter Vickers never went in international duty. He's the full time to train. Adam Ida never played, so you've seen him back in the training video again. He's Tammy and all that on. Me, my Ada was on the line beside him. When a wee man was puffed up, but for running back for Japan, so that's why they gave him a hoodie and a hot water bottle in his jacket. But it's good that Celtic look after our players that way, do you know what I mean? And obviously give them the best of treatment. And how do you see them approaching tomorrow?
I think, like Baz says, I think he's probably right. You don't really know what the team's going to be because you don't know. You just feel like fatigue as well. Obviously, I don't know how. I know Baz might be able to tell us on this, but I know certain managers might trust the sports science or the fitness guys to some managers might go, no, I'm playing him, he's able to play. Some might say, right, like Mr. Clement across the road seems to be going with sports science. 60 minutes, 65, he's taking guys off. Some managers might know, as long as you're fit and able, then you play. But that might entail things. I don't know how Brendan does. I don't know if he does go with that or he just goes with if the players say they're fit. So I think in terms of the game tomorrow...
Does Big Clement go with sports science, or is it just not a game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
It could be that and all, mate. It could be what players are tired, it's not that, innit? So, no, I think tomorrow...
players that I play a beautiful.
That's a beautiful, aye.
Flicks him off the bench.
I think it will be a hard game in terms of... Because I think Hearts have turned a bit of a corner under their new manager. So, I know people might say it's a new manager bounce, but the last two games have been pretty decent on the ball. They've been pretty attacking.
You can see what he's trying to do again.
You can see, and it's pretty possession based, but attacking based. So they'll obviously try and put on a show for their fans as well. And I think Baz says there's a wee bit of needle between the fans as well. And obviously the allocations been cutting. It's only 600 fans or something, which is I don't understand it. I really don't know why. I know Hearts might want to get an advantage, but it doesn't matter for us. They fans are 1,000, 2,000, Celtic's still going to be better than you. So that's not going to make a big difference. But I think the team will be, it could be totally different tomorrow. It could play either because he's fresh. It could play Bernardo or we really don't know. But I think it's getting to the stage, JP, where I don't think we really care who plays because they're all able to play now. Maybe last season when maybe Palmer wasn't playing or Yang wasn't playing well, or other guys in the past, you didn't really know what you were getting with them. But now you roughly know Bernardo can come on, McKinnon can come on, or Ida can come on. So I think that side, don't get me wrong, Marks who plays.
I think Palmer should be getting a game just for his dancing skills on a Christmas advert. Don't even Tony Roper was surprised as well, wasn't he? A wee question here for you, Baz, just while Ryan was chatting away there. Monty, he says, JP, could you ask Baz if he fancies being the last man versus Maeda from the halfway line?
Straight red card, innit?
Aye, for tackling the manager.
For missing him and taking the manager.
You missed him and took Neil Critchley right out of the game. Red card.
Have that, wee man. No, take it.
Put that in your double denim, wee man. Here, have us.
Just shows your experience, Baz, and take him out on it.
Well, if I can catch him, I would.
I would do. He's after the game, he's booked the Lala Turner in Glasgow.
I would need to start for the halfway line tonight to catch him tomorrow night.
I own a BMX. Oh, brilliant. Oh, I kind of knew the answer to that question before I even asked it, but Monty did ask, so I just thought I would ask you. But as obviously Ryan was touching on there, this thing with the fans, I mean, to me, it's just bizarre. I don't get it myself. You know, I think Ryan's bang on. It doesn't matter what you gaze no fans, but they've done it early road, and it's not helped them. So I just don't get it.
It affects the atmosphere as well. Surely you want an atmosphere in your ground. I can't see. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I can't see Hearts selling the whole allocation out. If they only give us 600, whatever it holds, I can't see them selling the rest of it out. So as a club, they're probably losing out on a bit of money as well, which I can't get my head around it. Obviously, they used to gaze behind the goal up until whenever, but like Ryan touched on, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day how many Celtic fans are in there, because it's 11v11 on the park at the end of the day. The fans are there to cheer the team on and stuff like that, but it can play a wee part in it, but it can't really affect the game. It's like Ryan said, it's 11v11. We've been playing it across the water with no fans and winning games there. So if you think they're going to get a psychological boost and a wee edge for cutting the allocation, it's Looney Tunes. I can't get my head around it, to be honest, JP, because I think everybody watching and going to there, the more I would like a few more Celtic fans in to create a bit more atmosphere, and it adds to the game.
I mean, this is the thing as well, isn't it? I mean, they can't sell out their stadium, but yet they're willing. It's the same with other clubs as well. They're willing to cut the away team's allocation due to for what? I mean, I just find the whole thing bizarre. I really, really do. But Baz, how do you see Celtic approaching tomorrow in terms of going into the game and hearing that they're just about full strength and they've came away for international duty unscathed, and which is for me brilliant news.
I heard his press conference today and he said no injuries, which is amazing, because that's really unlikely that happens. Really, you always pick one or two up in the way, especially how many international players Celtic have got. So that was great news. Clean bill of health going into the game. So I think they'll approach it the same way they approach every game. I think they'll go out there and try and dominate the ball from the off. And I think they'll try and go for the jugular. Like Brian said, I know Arne Moy, I think might have scored a penalty up there a couple of seasons ago, really early. And then Hearts need to come out a bit more, and that'll play into your hands. So I think they'll attack it for the off, because listen to his press conference today about people coming back today, that could have been mind games to say we could be a bit off it, but flip it the other way and just go for it from the off and hit them straight away. And I think if they get an early goal, it could be another high scoring game for Celtic. Because we look at Aberdeen this season and we're saying Hearts are a possession-based team and keep the ball really well. We thought that about Aberdeen and they couldn't get a kick against Celtic. So I can see it's similar to the Aberdeen game, where I know they're a possession-based team, but they're playing a team who's better at keeping the ball than them tomorrow. So I can't imagine they'll see much of the ball tomorrow. There might be little patterns of play, but even if Hearts are good in the ball, our press is something that they'll never ever have faced as well. So they'll come up against a team who are just too strong and confidence sky high, and I think the game could be done by half time if Celtic come out the box the way we know they can.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And one thing obviously happened today before we came on was this here. I'll take away this banner just now to let everybody see. Was this man here signing a new contract to the summer of 2029? What's your thoughts on that, Barry?
Amazing. I think this season he's come into his own. I think he's been arguably one of Celtic's best players this season. Maeda, Kuhn and people like that will get the plaudits, but that guy's been unbelievable this season. Also had the armband when McGregor and Carter Vickers were out and led by example that day, got a goal victory. So he's shown that he's a big leader and a big character in that changing room. So when I was driving to training this morning, I seen he's put that in. So I was delighted because he's probably a lot of Celtics fans' favourite players for the way he plays the game and how committed he is in the tackle and his work rate. That's what fans want to see for players, and he brings it in abundance. So I was delighted. Listen, he might not be there for the 5 years. Like we've seen with Matt O'Reilly sign the new deal, but that just shows you how well the clubs run as well, because they tie their good players down for a long time, and then when the big clubs come calling, they need to pay more money for these players because they're on long-term contracts. So hopefully I'm wrong and he does stay the duration, because I love him. I think he's a top player. But I do think there will be teams that will be coming for down south for certain players, and I think he'll be one that a lot of teams down there will be after, because he's a modern day fullback. He's got everything. He can defend. He's fit. He's fast. He's strong. He's good going forward. Delivery's good. So I reckon he'll be one that clubs in England will be sniffing about, and I think that's how we've moved so quick to snap him up.
Ryan, we spoke on here, us three, spoke on here a long time ago. I think it was last year. And I'd only seen, it was just when he signed, Alistair Johnston. And I had only seen a couple of games of him. And I think you boys will remember me quoting and saying that I think he's got the makings to be one of Celtic's best fullbacks since Danny McGrain. By God, has this lad lived up to every bit of expectation I had of him, and then some. Because for me, that's the direction he's headed in, right?
Aye, obviously you had before him, you Juranovic, who for me had a wee bit of class about him. Maybe no the best defensively, but he was a wee bit of class about him in terms of as a footballer, especially going forward. AJ, my only criticism was him, is he wasn't great going forward. He didn't really get by his man, didn't really get balls in the box. Whatever Brendan's done with him has totally changed that, because he's up and down now. He can get by his man, he can deliver the balls. He's interlinking with Kuhn, and if it's Maeda that side, if it's Forrest, whatever it is, he's doing very well. And I agree with what you and Baz are saying there. He is just a modern day fullback. He looks like he's bulked up as well. I don't know if that's his personal or he's been told he's got to be fit. I don't know, but
do you think it's obviously part of Ryan as well, and being a Canadian internationalist as well? Because some of the lads he's up against when they play games, they're all big lads as well. Possibly.
Or maybe he's just 40 and need to be stronger, and maybe he's done it for his own health benefit. But he does look like he looks like a proper flying machine. Like I say, you look at across the road and they talk about Tavernier, how good he is at penalties, free kicks and stuff like that. I know it's still a massive part of the game, but you look at the way he's built and the way he is and stuff, it's night and day, man. And I'm absolutely buzzing that he's like, but Baz says, I think he's going to be for 5 years. I think that all stems on Celtic being in Europe. I think it was slightly mentioned at the AGM, I think, about like, we need to be an attractive proposition to players to come here. And that's being in Europe, having managers like Brendan and having players like Engels here, McGregor's. We need to have some sort of attraction, because Scotland's not an attraction. So 4 derby games is a small attraction, but is it really why you were signed here? Probably no. It's European football, because I think if we didn't have European football in the Champions League, would Arne Engels come here? Probably no. He'd probably go to Bayer Leverkusen or Gladbach or somebody like that in that league. So I think the European side's massive. We need to progress every year in Europe. If it means getting to the playoff and then roughly set for the qualifiers, I think if we need to win the qualifiers, we need to qualify, because the only saving grace is, again, Peter Lowell says it today, that if we don't qualify, the only good thing is that if we don't qualify 1 year, we've got the cash reserves to be okay with it for a year or two, because I think it's £70 million reserves as it stands. We're still to see the big update. We're still to see whatever up next year. The update will be more. So, but basically, what Lawwell was saying was, if right now it's all brilliant, but if it doesn't go well and we do miss out, we've got the cash reserves there just in case. So but that's not enough to sign a player in terms of getting them here. So Celtic being Europe's probably the biggest thing that will keep guys like Johnson, Kuhn, maybe Kyle will go. No McGregor, because I think he's a Celtic man. He'll be here until he decides not to go. But for us to get, if you want to call proper top class players to come to Celtic, then I think being in Europe is the biggest thing, mate. And I think as long as Brendan's here and as long as the board are backing Brendan, then I don't see any reason why that can't continue.
Yeah, 100%. But as a wee question for P. McLaughlin, one of our regular commenters, he says, does Barry think we should go for Lennon Miller himself? There's been a lot of chat about Lennon Miller over the last couple of days, even a couple of weeks about him.
Aye, 100%. I think I like the Luke McCowan signing. I like to see, obviously, homegrown players getting bought for Celtic. I think we probably don't do it enough as a club, and I get it. Like, there's a lot at stake. There's Champions League. There's titles to be won.
Yeah.
But there's going to be the odd Scottish player that comes through and makes you big money, or he stays in one. Callum McGregor, he's captain, came through the academy, still there, still one of the best players. So there's no reason that Kieran Tierney, another one, James Forrest, one of the most decorated Celtic players of all time.
Yep.
So there is Scottish players there, and I think he's definitely one that he's got that wee bit more about him than everybody else in that league. I would even go as far to say he's probably, for me, I prefer him to Luke McCowan. I think he's young still, he's got a lot to learn, but I think he's going to go to the top. I think he's good enough to go down to England and do like what your John McGinns have done in time. He's still young, but I think you've got to learn for the John McGinn and not let him go to England and don't see him, because we had a chance to sign him and keep him up here for a bit before he went on to England and we missed out on it. So I think we've got to learn for that, and I think Lennon Miller will be a very, very good signing. Does he walk into the Celtic team at the minute? Probably no. He probably doesn't get a game at the minute, but with how many games we've got, he will play games. Look, McCowan's playing games, Bernardo's playing games. You're getting midfield's changing constantly, so you will get games. So, and I don't think he could turn it down. It could be possibly one of the ones where you sign him in January and loan him back to Motherwell for the rest of the season, if that's what they want to do. But I think they've got to move from if they can sign him and the boy wants to go. I think it would be a very, very good sign.
Yeah, Ryan, obviously, he's been big talk up here recently. Do you agree with Baz in terms of Celtic? It should be a player that Celtic are definitely going to get?
I would say, yeah, mate, because there's no many Scottish players at that age, 17, 18, coming up through that and playing every week. Now, Motherwell might be a Scottish club, and people might look at Motherwell or Scotland as not a big proposition or a big thing, but to be that age, captain, well, no, they're trying to put his captain to get him a new deal or to get him to stay. Or maybe it is just the fact that he's earned it and they think he should be doing it. I don't really know. It's not for me to say. But the fact that he's captained his boyhood, I'm sure he's a Motherwell fan. His boyhood club, he's come up and he's obviously worked hard to get there. They were unlucky not to win the game as well, or unlucky not to get at least extra time or penalty. Sorry. So I would say aye. We've got to start. But the only thing with that is that if we're signing guys like that, then it's kind of telling you that our youth is not good enough as well, because we shouldn't be looking at other players constantly. If we've got a youth, we're spending money on our youth, is it £2 or £3 million a year, building Barrowfield, hope for us. But I don't know. By saying, obviously, you're still playing at the top level and you've got guys, Sheffield Wednesday coming through, and you've got good facilities and a massive club. When we were younger, you just played and you just enjoyed yourself. You get a wee bit of coaching as you go through academies and boys' clubs, but you just enjoyed yourself. But see, having all the facilities, is it down to that, or do you really think it's just down to the boys themselves, the culture and a bit the coaching as well?
Well, you're naturally born with it, aren't you? So it doesn't matter what facilities you're out in. You've either got it or you haven't, and some have got it more than others. It doesn't matter how you bring them up, but like what facilities you're training at. Like, it obviously looks good and it does help a wee bit, but I wouldn't say boys at Celtic should be better than Lennon Miller because they're at Lennoxtown and they're getting the best of the best. Like, Lennon Miller's arguably, it doesn't look bad in our academy if we go and sign Lennon Miller. He's playing week in, week out for Motherwell. And he's not just playing, he's scoring and assisting every single week. He's their main man. So that's just because he's probably developed quicker and he's better than most of the boys in our academy. And that's, you get the odd player like that who you think Celtic get the pick. But a lot of young boys at that age don't go to Celtic or Rangers because they know that their chances of getting first team football is limited. So you go to Hibs, you go to Hearts, and you know that there's a chance of you breaking into the first team at 17 and 18 and going in advance. And a lot of the boys at that age as well now are looking further as how can I get to England? I'm not going to get to England by sitting in Celtic's under 18s and 19s. I need to play first team football. So that's how Motherwell and people get these boys. But no, I wouldn't say that. Celtic have obviously got good boys in their academy as well, but Lennon's just an exception, obviously, and is playing at a very high level. So I would say that Celtic's academy, if they sign him, it doesn't look bad at all. He's just, it's like Andy Robertson went from Dundee United to Hull. Now he's at Liverpool. Are we going to lose it to Lennon Miller because he's young and Scottish and he's playing for Motherwell and we should be getting somebody for our academy? We shouldn't. We should learn for the people like Robertson and John McGinn who went on to have big careers. And I think this boy, if he keeps his head and keeps going the way he's going, I think he's going to go to the top.
Because is it an argument though? Sorry, mate. Is it an argument though, Baz, that you know, you've said yourself, does he get in the team now? Probably no. He's playing every week at Motherwell, so is there an argument that might be an off-putting mark for him to come to Celtic and then he has to wait his time and he might not get a game every single week?
I think boys at that age are fearless. I think he'll back himself to come and play at Celtic. Believe it or not, I think he's that good that I think in his head he'll back himself, and rightly so, because he is a big talent. So I don't think he'll fear about coming and not playing. But I think the sensible thing today, if they were going to sign him, would be to loan him back to Motherwell and let him enjoy the rest of the season. He started a season there, he's having a very good season.
Yeah.
Do you bring him to Celtic and he plays between 10 and 12 games to the end of the season, or do you leave him at Motherwell and let him play another 20-odd games and develop even more? I think that would be the best option, but that would be down to the club and the player, because I think if the club did get a bid accepted and he signed the contract, I think they would say to the Lennon, do you want to come now or do you want to go back and play? And I think, I don't know. I've met his dad a few times in that. His dad's a lovely guy, level-headed guy, so he'll be advising him really well as well, being an ex-pro. But I think Lennon would probably think and fancy his chances of coming and playing games.
And obviously that game you were talking about, Ryan, there was 2 records broken that day. So obviously Lennon was the first one being captain at Motherwell so young. And the second one was the first Scottish footballer ever to ask for a VAR check for Rangers. Was Andy Halliday that day to make sure his goal was bang on the money?
Aye. He was telling himself to calm down, wasn't he? Right, Andy, calm down now, don't get yourself too hyped up.
He's the only one I know to shout on the ref and ask the ref to go to VAR after scoring.
Go check that now. But no, I think it's interesting as well what Baz was saying there, because see if Lennon Miller was at Celtic's academy and if he was 16, 17, he potentially could be in the lower league. Not really playing every week, not really getting the recognition, not really developing his career. So that's a thing. I don't think Motherwell have got any youth in terms of in the lower league. I think it's just Hearts. Well, it was Hearts, Rangers and Celtic. So they've done well, Motherwell, in sense of that. They're able to, obviously, it's different. They're still trying to win games, but I agree with Baz says as well. We said it well, JP. When do you play the boys? Because obviously we're going for trophies, European football. There's still going to be a pathway. But Motherwell, because of the maybe financial situation, they've got more leeway to give boys a chance. If it doesn't work, right, go back into the reserves or back to the 19s.
I think we heard that, didn't we, with Tony Dock recently as well, talking about young fellas. And
that was a good interview with him.
Today as well, and Brendan says, well, First and foremost, you've got to be good enough. And he says, and I'm not just talking about being a footballer, you've got to have a right attitude, you've got to be a good teammate, you've got to do everything, tick every single box, basically. And he says, if you look through my time as a manager, right back to the start, I've always put in young people when I know they're ready to play. He said, so you've got to be good enough. You can't just be a guy that scores goals and that's all you do, but you don't contribute to the team in other ways, meaning the game's changed. So you need to have the kind of full package is what Brendan's looking for. Another guy I want to touch on me, Baz, just now is Arne Engels. Now, he's came to Celtic. He's actually took a bit of stick from our fans because he's came and replaced a man that was sold for big money down to Brighton. And he's came with a big price tag himself. And a lot of Celtic fans don't seem that he's made the appropriate contribution that would, take him up to that level of money getting paid from. But for me, mate, I see a bigger picture. I see you've made an investment in a guy that you believe fully that he's going to come and eventually he's going to be a superstar. Now, I've looked at the games he's played in. I want to touch on the one at Atalanta. I've not even seen Ademola Lookman since because he went missing that night due to the fact that Engels was unbelievable against him. And for me, Baz, I see someone where he's probably one of the best. He's got probably one of the best engines of him in him that I've seen in a long time at Celtic for the fact that he can get up and down the pitch. He's good with the ball. He can play in tight spaces. I think you need that as well, mate. You need a level of physicality to play in the Champions League as well. And you need to be able to keep the ball and not lose it and get dispossessed so quickly and draw fouls when needed, and all that comes into play there. But in touching on Arne Engels, mate, how do you see him?
I can see what the fans are saying, to be honest. And I get he's an investment, and he's still young, but we've seen it before. You don't get time at Celtic to settle. You need to come in and hit the ground running, especially when a club's paid 11 million for you. That's not the player's fault. I think in certain games he showed that he's 11 million. And then other games where he's fell below it. Listen, he's still a young boy and he's going to have ups and downs. You've seen with Kuhn last season, who struggled for large parts of the season. He's a completely different player this season. So that you can see there's a player in there. But I can see why the Celtic fans have not slated him, but had concerns because there's been a few games where I think he's been below par, and then there's been games where you think, well, that's why you've paid 11 million for him. But I do believe he's a top player and will be even better because he's young. He's, like you said, he's going to learn. He's going to get better. But I can see the fans' point of view where they've questioned certain performances. But it's you can only judge him at the end of the season. I think his goals and assists this season will be high. He's got loads of assists that a lot of people forget, and that's his job, is to assist and score goals. And I think he's got loads for what I've seen. So he is doing his job, and I think the price tag's probably affecting him a wee bit as well, because if he wasn't 11 million, then I don't think half the fans would be saying we need more. I think his price tag's playing a big part of that. And they're expecting the world when really, if you look at his stats, he's actually, for a young boy, it's coming out of a country that he's never played in before. People he's never played with, he's had probably a really, really good start on paper.
Yeah. Ryan, obviously, we've spoke a wee bit about him, mate, and I've said to you, for me, being at the games and seeing him play, mate, I think what I've said to Justin before Baz came in there, he's got one of the best. I mean, his running power for me, mate, is so impressive. Now, you talk about Maeda's speed, I'm not meaning that. What I'm meaning is, if Celtic lose the ball, his jump and press is probably one of the fastest in the midfield, if I'm being honest.
I like him, JP. Again, we all see things differently in terms of, and plus, fans might want him to score goals and assist and do what Matt Riley done, but that might not be his game. That the manager might be asking, we don't know what the manager wants me to do, but the game against Leipzig, I thought it was tremendous, and I thought some of the criticism of the goal was a wee bit. I didn't agree with it, because for the goal for Nicholas Cunningham, was tremendous. His recoveries and all that type of stuff. And again, obviously, Basil knows himself through, like, clubs look at data a lot now, and your recoveries and what you've ran and distance and all that type of stuff. They look at that a lot now, and probably if you looked at that, his data for that game, it'd probably be very, very high. I know your eyes, I'm very a visual person and I'm more stats and data, because I think you get a better brief of looking at people. And I get what Baz is saying in terms of the Kilmarnock game, it was dreadful, but the full team were dreadful. But I don't think the park helps. I know if you're a good player, you should be able to play in every park, but again, he doesn't play in that. He's probably never seen National in his life. He's probably seen it maybe in the training centres, but he's came here and went, probably, Jesus Christ, Rugby Park, what's this? But I think he'll get used to it. Mary's playing here, and same as like Austin Trusty and other guys, they'll all get used to these Astro Parks, because if Falkirk or Livy come up this year, it's another Astro Park. Do you know what I mean? And the Kilmarnock might not be putting their grass to next year now, I've heard. So it's no ideal, but listen, I think if you're good, you'll be able to play anywhere. So I think I can get the wee bits of criticism, but the full justice I can, because for me personally, I think he's been very decent. He's coming for a new country, a new culture, big money fee on him as well. So I gave it Baz as well. That might be on it as well, because for me that's on Adam Ida. I think for the money that were paid for him, I know he's not playing every game, and to play 15 minutes and 20 minutes, listen, it is hard to then come up to the tempo that we want to get to. For the money we're paid, me as a fan, I'm wanting him to get 15 to 20 goals a season for that price. But he might not get that because he's not going to get the game time. So you can't be too critical if he's not getting the games to prove it. But all in all, mate, I think he'll come very good. And I think he's another one that they've invested in him to then hopefully sell on for big money.
Yeah. Right, lads, I think we're at that time now where I'm going to ask you for a team prediction for tomorrow night's game. I'll start with you, Baz.
Big Tony Warner in goals now.
Big Ram like Tynecastle, didn't he?
He's a grab, aye.
He's the best window cleaner I've ever known, man, I'm telling you. The guy's 6'4", man. He comes for a crossbar. He was 3 feet 2.
I'm going to go, obviously, Kasper Schmeichel, Alistair Johnston right back, Carter Vickers, Trusty, and Greg Taylor, because obviously he went away with Scotland and never get game time. This is the team I think he'll play it with. They'd be I would play Valle, but I think Greg Taylor will get the nod, being Tynecastle and atmosphere and been there and done it. I think the midfield three will be Cal McGregor, because obviously he's retired for international and had rest. I think, did Hatate get away with Japan?
He didn't play much though.
Never played at all. In fact, he did make a substitute appearance, but he only played like 4 minutes.
I think Hatate will play. I think Engels played both games, didn't he, for the Belgians?
Yeah, but he was obviously subbed off twice as well. I think 60, 65. And, yeah.
I think Engels will play. I've seen Kyogo played for Japan. I think Adam Ida might start.
By the way, you talk about Kyogo. Did you see his sitter, man? Oh, it was. I don't know what he's trying to do. It was easier to score.
He keeps missing them.
I know. I don't know why.
Loads of sitters. I think Maeda will play Adam Ida and Nicholas Kuhn.
Okay, Ryan.
I'm probably going to go with Baz in terms that I would like Valle to play, because I think it would suit him. But then I think he will go over experience. I think Castle. Taylor's been there and done it, and he's played well in the past. He scored there as well. So AJ, I think will play with. I think will be trusting Vickers with Taylor.
You wanted to say Scales there,
I
big
was
man,
going
do
to,
you know him?
I was going to say Scales. I was going to, but I think the
Scales
fact
is
that
locked in his cupboard shouting, say me.
shouting, God's sake, Harry Kane.
Aye. No, I think Scales
That's
is.
the first time I've seen him celebrate an England penalty in my life.
But I know how I had him. That's
By
Harry
the
Kane
way-
anytime.
By the way, he's turned his camera around. See if he turn it back round. He's got 2 England scarves and a big banner on his warrior.
I was actually buzzing to done it because I had Harry Kane anytime, by the way. So I was buzzing.
Brilliant.
No, I think Scales he's even for myself now. I think a lot of Celtic fans. If he plays, you're not really fussed in there because he's proved it now. So I know we have a good banter about stuff, but he's actually been decent this season in terms of when he's played. So I think who plays at the back, you're not really too fussed now. But I think he's starting to go with the trusty Vickers partnership. So Vickers has been obviously arrested with no playing in USA. So I think they two will be together with Taylor. I'm going to go with the same midfield as Baz says, Engels, Hatate and Cal. I think it'll be Maeda and Kuhn, and I think he will play Kyogo. I know Ademir was fresh, but I just think he'll start with your best striker. I think he'll just start with him, and then if we get a goal up or two, then he'll put you down. He's fresh, he's his legs. But I could see either playing because of the physical attributes him, and obviously Hearts. Aye, as well. So that as well. So he could play him for Kyogo playing during the week. So, or he could rotate it, keep the wee man on the bench for the week. So I think that's well, lads. We've got the luxury of who cares if who plays.
Aye. Well, I think the team will slightly change. I think it will Scott Bannan goals. I think it will be...
I think that's his birthday day, and it might play. It'll be birthday present.
I think Paul Telfer will come in at right back. I think he'll play...
You're the Yarishik centre mid, number 10.
Badar El Kaduri at left back. I think Evander Snow will play.
Aye, score at Ivor, I think.
Evander Snow will play at centre back.
I love Evander Snow.
Aye, I liked him enough.
That was that game where that was probably the best finisher I've ever seen. The Hooper
passed it into the corner.
Oh, unbelievable!
We get beat that day, no 4-2. I think it was, wasn't it? 4-2. We get beat. Aye.
I thought he missed it, and then he went in. I was like, wow.
Aye. No, I think it'll be Schmeichel.
Joe Ledley in my game tomorrow.
What's that?
I've got Joe Ledley a box at the game tomorrow. He's a cat.
Brilliant, man.
Oh, Bosso, he is, aye.
See for a pure laugh, he used to stop him down with the ordinary people.
Imagine that. I got him 3 car park passes and he says, I only need one, we're coming in a bus.
Oh, brilliant, man.
Aye.
Brilliant, man. What a player, is an man, brilliant player. The David Donut bus.
The David Donut bus. It's a magical mystery till they've left it now.
No, it's no Bramall Lane, it's Wednesday we're going to.
Aye. Drive us off like down the M74 then, He's on a magical mystery tour.
What a player Joe was, man. Cracking player.
Superb. Joe was a brilliant player. Still, by the way, he's still not bad. I watched him that Masters there. He was alright. He can still shift. He can play. He's in good shape. He's kept himself fit. No, I think the team will be Kasper Schmeichel. I think it'll be AJ. I think it'll be CCV and Trusty as well. I love big scales, but I think A2 will play. And I think he'll go with Vai. I think he will play Vai. The reason I picked that is because he did this for the Aberdeen semi. He went Vai and then he picked Greg Taylor for the Leipzig game. So I think he might keep V Taylor for Wednesday night. And he might do the same. But knowing Brendan, he'll probably throw a span on that and play Scales at left back and leave it to him.
Mitchell Frame at left back. Only go, wee man.
I was talking about young people on the presser. You're ready, wee man, and you go. Shows what you're made of, right, at Tynecastle. And then I think the midfield will be Cal McGregor, Arne Engels, Rio Atati, Dyson Maeda, Nicholas Kuhn. I'm actually going to say that he'll start with Big Ida. I think Big Ida will start tomorrow. My reasoning for that is the physicality side of it as well, and I think he'll bring Kyogo on at some point, but I would go with Kyogo, Ida, myself personally, and then look to play the wee man on Wednesday night, because obviously you've got the games now are going to start coming thick and fast now, boys, and I think he's mentioned that afore, mate. We are going to have to use probably everybody in my squad. I would probably like to see Bernardo and Luke McCown starting to come into the team for, I don't want to be disrespectful, but the kind of lesser team games that we don't need to play Callum McGregor, and you know, when you know you can take them out of the team when you're not in that great danger.
I think we'll definitely see that. Like you said, we've had a good period of games at the minute where we're lucky to have the international break where you can play your strongest team, and you know that obviously some of them have to go away and play internationally, but there's been breaks every single month for the last 3 months with internationals. Now we've got till March, so there's going to be a large period of games. I know we get the winter break and stuff, but there's going to be a good run of games now where you're probably playing 12 before the break, where you can use these boys, and that's why you've bought them. That's why you bought like McCowan and people like that to come in. It's for times like now when the games come thick and fast. That's the time for these boys to come and step in, like your Yangs and your Louis Palmers. I'd like to see him step up because as fit as Maeda is, and we always have a laugh about he can run all day, it would be nice to see him being given a rest and somebody able to come in and deputise for him. Because you can't keep doing what he's doing. I know he probably can, but I would like to see somebody else come in and like a different give him a different dimension and push him a bit more. But no, I think we'll definitely see a bit of rotation in the up and coming weeks because I say there's going to be 12 to 13 games now before that winter break, and we've got a big enough squad to do it. So I think what you said, it sounds bad, but the lesser teams, I think, has a chance to bring these boys in and give them a shot.
Think about it as bad as it's 29 games in 110 days starting for tomorrow. That's a lot of football.
It's crazy. It's
especially no winter break as well. So I mean, this is going to be a big test for them.
Is there no break in?
Nope. There's no winter break. There's no winter break this season, mate. That's why I've spoke at length with them all across the water to say that they've got injuries now, and they're going to have to keep going. They're 9 points behind both Aberdeen and Celtic. For me, it's going to come back to bite them.
But I don't think there's any international games out of March or something now.
No, that's it. The next international
game. Was a winter break. That's how I said.
No, there's no winter break now, that's been took away, mate. Because it was because of the new format of the Champions League as well.
Right. Well,
because that goes right into January.
Well, I thought they were getting a break at the end of, after Boxing Day or whatever it normally is, but
no.
Well, yeah, there's going to be rotation in there because you can't play that amount of games. You can, but it catches up with you for not at that level as well, and at that intensity that Brendan wants them to play it. You're going to have to rotate, otherwise you're going to lose the intensity. So, but listen, he's one of the best managers about, so there's no doubt. We're speaking about it on here. He's steps and steps ahead of us, so it'll be something that he's looked at weeks ago, and that's why these boys are in the squad. They're in here to come, and he'll be picking games. He's probably got games where 3-4 weeks down the line he knows he's starting 11 already, all being well, and the injuries and the build up to that. But he'll have. I remember a story Dan Fletcher told me that Ferguson used to pull him like 3-4 weeks in advance, saying, "You're not going to play much the next couple of weeks, but I've got you ready for this Champions League game 3-4 weeks down the line, you're starting." And that would keep him going. He would think, right, he's told me I'm playing 4 weeks, I need to keep myself fit and ready for that Champions League game and keep him on side. So I wouldn't say Brendan's doing that, but I definitely I'd imagine that he'd have players he'll look at the fixture list and think that's a time to play him. It's a time for him. That's a time for Yang. That's a time for Palmer, McCowans, and people.
Does your manager do that, Baz? Does he plan ahead like that?
He does sometimes. He's pulled a few boys and saying, "You're not going to play today, but I need you on Tuesday. You'll start," and things like that. And at the time, you think that's never. What if my, say for instance, a striker? What if the striker that's playing tonight scores a hat-trick? How am I going to play on Tuesday? But they're normally good for their word managers, because as soon as you said that, it's hard to then fall back in it because you lose the trust of your team, your players then.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of managers that do that, and it's no, probably back in the day it might have been to keep the player out the office at the time, but it doesn't wash now, because if you say one thing and do another, that's when you start to create problems. So our manager's really good at it, to be honest. He does tell players when they're playing and when they're not, and if he's not going to play them tomorrow, we've got a game on Tuesday, so he lets people know, and then it kind of eases it, because you want to play every game, but you know there's the games are coming thick and fast. Like Celtic for us, we've got loads of games up until March. We probably got similar. I'd imagine we'd have 20 odd games up until then, maybe more. So we play 46 games in the season, so we probably got 20 odd, 30 odd games until March, to the next international break. So our squad will need to be utilised as well as Celtic's.
Ryan, that's another great insight for Baz here, because a lot of fans look at that and go, well, he's just doing a favour. He's no there, when indeed the manager might have sat him down and says, listen, a couple of wee fixtures here, you're not going to play, but by the way, there's a Champions League one here, I'm going to put you in and be ready. A lot of fans don't see that.
I'll just keep it brief, mate. I know we're coming to the end, but I think it's, like I said the other day, when we were on in the Morven with Alan, you can't bullshit players, mate. Do you know what I mean? Players know now that if you can't bullshit players now, so if you tell them something then don't do it, then you're going to wait a minute here, and then it just, like I said, it causes. But it's interesting, because as fans we think that Young's not played in 4 games for a reason. Maybe it could be, but then he plays in against Leipzig, and you're, oh right, so that was maybe the plan. So I think it's a good way to work, because, like Baz said as well, it keeps the players going, right, I'm not happy about playing, but I'm playing Tuesday, right, cool, I'll 100%. Recover on Sunday, ready for Monday. So I think that's a good way to manage, and I think it's better. I think players now like to be told the truth. They'd rather be told, look, you're not playing because of this, you're playing because of this, you're playing this week because of this, instead of just saying, right, like back in the day when I was younger, right, you're not playing, team's up, you're not playing, sit down. That was it. And you're like, why am I not playing? I've trained well all week, I played well last week. So I think the way Baz says, the way obviously Danny works and other managers work, cool. I think that's the way to go, mate.
That's it. It's all about man management. It's all about how you deal with players. And if you're straight up with players, as Baz says, you can't players will see through it now if you try and hoodwink them and do something else. So, yeah. Ryan, obviously, before we finish up, mate, on the running bar, folks, you probably saw me message here regarding about the live bonus ball that we do have available for you. Ryan, you want to give us a wee update on that, mate, and how we're looking with numbers-wise?
It's 32 gone, mate, so that 18, if my maths is right, that I left. 18 left. I'll put it on the social media after this, the wee update for it. 32 ball been took. It is signed.
I'll have 80 then.
You want 8?
I'll have 8, and if I won, I'll give you it back.
There you go.
So if I just take it, there's 10 left.
The man himself was just said it on record in a game that he was part of the squad. We've got a fantastic jersey signed by all the players from the live, the 2-2 match versus England in 2017 at Hampden. Baz, that must be a good memory. That was a great result. That was the free kicks, wasn't it?
Aye.
I never got on the park, so I was devastated, but it was a good game to obviously be involved. We were devastated at the end as well, because they scored late, didn't they, to kill us. So, but it was an unbelievable atmosphere. I remember that. Hampden was rocking that day. So always playing against England, or being, even if you're on the bench, you're always up for it as if you're playing, because it's the enemy in it. And it was unbelievable that day. Just if we could have held on, it'd have been even better. But it was a special day. Atmosphere, I remember, it's probably the best atmosphere I've heard at Hampden in my whole time. So it was a good game.
It's probably the only time I've ever heard him shouting at Stuart Armstrong. Why did you not kick it, Stuart? Why did you not kick it? He's trying to play. See, that was Brendan Rodgers in him, trying to play out for the back. Why did you not kick it? That was probably the only time you've slagged him and Brendan Rodgers on in one sentence for trying to play that type of football. But no, listen, it was unlucky. It was just one of the ones. The boy nicked it, and was it Dele Alli?
Aye,
Dele Alli.
Was it the Ox?
Chamberlain.
Might have been Ox. I'm thinking. I was thinking of Dele Alli, but you might be.
Right.
Bang on in terms of the. By the way, that's the PayPal details for anybody that wants to have a shot of the bonus ball. That's up on your screen there as well. Thanks, Anjem, for reminding me in the comments for not putting that up. I think it might have been Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, look at it. I mean, there you go, Ryan. 2 players I know. You've just mentioned top quality, you know, like Dele Alli at the time and then Oxlade-Chamberlain. I know he had his injury problems, but you're up against a formidable side. I mean, and again, that's probably 2 of the best free kicks in a match I've ever seen.
No, it's the most I've ever celebrated a Scotland goal in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Scotland fan, but it was generally at Celtic's goal, and that's how much I couldn't believe it. It was similar to the game when we beat Norway last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in Benidorm at the time when we scored the first goal. We were all talking about celebrating, and another goal, I'm like, oh, again? Do you know what I mean? It was just these sort of moments, but no, it's a great piece. Obviously, Baz has signed it, and the players involved in that game. It's a tremendous piece to anyone who have in the mantelpiece, or if they like that sort of history stuff. So, yeah, there's for the worst 32, if Baz has got to take it, then there's obviously 10 to go. So
10 left, folks. But
yeah,
a weekend tonight. We've sold 40.
Roughly, aye. So I'll update all that once we're finished here. But yeah, it's been a great thing to obviously put towards us, and it's just good to put out to the fans, mate.
Yeah, 100%. And I just want to say a massive thanks to yourself again, Baz, for coming on a Friday night and having a chat with us, mate.
No, I've enjoyed it, mate. You've made my hotel stay a lot easier tonight. Straight to bed now and sleep for the big game tomorrow. But nah, it's always good to speak about something that I'm passionate about. Obviously, I love Celtic and you love Celtic. So when I'm speaking about Celtic, if I'm not speaking about it on here, I'll be speaking about it to my dad or whoever. So it's always good when you can come on here and speak to the people who have tuned in tonight and they're all asking questions and all interacting, so it's brilliant.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously tomorrow, mate, tell David Turnbull I was asking for him, will you?
Is that after he's chasing me or
well, once you
meg him and put one in the top bin.
Wait till you've nutmegged him the second time and then you can say Big JP was asking for you, mate. But no, listen, all the best tomorrow, mate. Hopefully a home victory for you and another 3 points as you kick on in the season, mate.
Aye, hopefully, mate. We got a good run of fixtures on paper, but as you know, it doesn't always plan out that way. But we've up until Boxing Day now, we've got a good run of games where we can go into the games and attack and hopefully get the points that we need to be in and around it when you want to be in and around at Christmas time. January is when you look at the league table. So hopefully we can do a lot of good work for now till then and put ourselves in a good position.
100%. Ryan, thanks for your time, me man. It was good getting a chat with you again.
Any time, mate. I'm sitting freezing here, mate. Need a cup of tea. Baltic to here in Glasgow, by the way. Freezing, man. No, but cheers again, Baz, and all the best tomorrow, mate.
We should be used to that because we've been used to that minus. Is it -9 out? I think it's -9 up here. It's been -9 up here for a wee while.
I need to get my hoodies off with my own because I'm getting cold, man.
Sean phoned me today. He's actually looking for you, by the way. You never paid for your latch back, apparently. He's not happy with you, mate. You were too busy celebrating England's penalty last week. You couldn't get an answer to the door. He couldn't hear you.
Tell him I'll send him on the corner. I heard it does corner. I'll send him on that.
He came to me the other day with a Monzo card. I don't know if that's yours, mate, or he's nicked that out of somebody else's.
And played free for 2 years.
He's got one of the payment plans like that, Mom, across the water. By now we'll pay you, we move your memory back.
By now we'll take it away.
Brilliant. Listen, lads, all the best. Take care. And to you, the viewers as well. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Celtic game. Wrap up well. And we'll see you again for the dial-in on Monday. Bye-bye.
Hell.